Listening to stories is one of the best ways to improve your English. It helps you understand words in context, hear natural pronunciation, and absorb new vocabulary effortlessly. So, if you're ready, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and let's begin. What if I told you that one of the greatest minds in history was once considered a failure? That he faced challenges, doubts, and rejection before changing the world forever? This is the story of a brilliant thinker who saw the universe in a completely different way. Albert Einstein. You've probably heard this name before. A genius, a scientist, a man with wild white hair. But who was he really? Many people think of him as the smartest person who ever lived. But did you know that as a child, people thought he was slow? That's right. Even his teachers believed he wouldn't amount to much. Born in 1879 in Germany, Einstein was different from other kids. He didn't speak until he was almost 3 years old. He was quiet and spent a lot of time thinking rather than talking. While other children played outside, he would sit alone, lost in thought. His parents were worried. His teachers thought he was lazy. But little did they know, inside his mind, something extraordinary was happening. Years later, Einstein would change the way we understand the universe. His discoveries in physics would shape modern science. His ideas would challenge everything people believed about time, space, and reality itself. But before all of that, he was just a boy with big questions and a curious mind. Now, let's take a closer look at his childhood. What kind of student was he? And how did he develop his passion for science? Albert Einstein was born in the small town of Ulm, Germany, on March 14, 1879. His parents, Hermann and Pauline Einstein, were ordinary people. His father ran an electrical business, while his mother loved music and books. From the start, Albert was different. He was a quiet child, slow to speak, and often deep in thought. His family even worried that something was wrong with him. But Albert wasn't slow, he was simply thinking in his own way. When he finally started speaking, he did so in full sentences. Instead of just saying milk, he would say, "I want some milk, please." This careful way of thinking would stay with him throughout his life. But school was a different challenge. In Germany, schools were strict. Teachers demanded obedience, discipline, and memorization. But Albert? He had a mind of his own. In class, he was often bored. He didn't like memorizing facts. Instead, he loved to ask questions. Why is the sky blue? How does light work? Teachers didn't always have the answers. Some even got annoyed with him. One teacher famously told him, "Einstein, you will never be successful." Imagine that. A teacher telling the future genius of physics that he wouldn't achieve anything. But Albert found something that excited him: math. Numbers and patterns made sense to him. He discovered books on algebra and geometry and taught himself advanced math before his classmates. His uncle, Jacob, encouraged his curiosity and gave him puzzles to solve. Soon, Einstein realized that math and science were his true passions. At home, another event sparked his imagination. When he was 5 years old, his father gave him a simple compass. As he turned it in different directions, the needle always pointed north. Why? What invisible force was controlling it? This small compass made young Einstein realize that unseen forces govern the world, and he wanted to understand them. Despite his struggles in school, Einstein's curiosity never faded. He continued learning, reading, and questioning everything around him. Little did he know, these childhood moments would shape the brilliant scientist he was destined to become. But what happened when he grew older? How did he take his first steps toward becoming a scientist? Let's find out in the next chapter. As Einstein grew older, his love for math and science only deepened. But school remained a problem. The rigid education system in Germany didn't encourage creativity or independent thinking. At 16, he decided he'd had enough. Without telling his teachers, he left school and moved to Switzerland to continue his education in a more open-minded environment. Einstein applied to the prestigious Swiss Federal Polytechnic School in Zurich. But there was a problem: he failed the entrance exam. His math and physics scores were excellent, but his grades in other subjects, like languages and history, were too low. The school rejected him. It was a tough moment, but Einstein didn't give up. He spent a year studying and took the exam again. This time, he passed. At university, Einstein finally felt free. He could focus on the subjects he loved, physics and mathematics. However, even there, he was not the best student. He often skipped classes, preferring to study on his own. He questioned traditional ideas and challenged his professors. This attitude didn't make him popular with his teachers, and some even refused to recommend him for jobs after graduation. When Einstein finished his studies in 1900, he struggled to find work. With no strong references from his professors, no one wanted to hire him as a scientist. He spent 2 years taking small tutoring jobs, barely making enough money to survive. It was a difficult time, but he didn't let frustration stop him. In 1902, Einstein finally got a stable job at the Swiss Patent Office in Bern. His job was to review patents, applications for new inventions. It wasn't a scientific position, but it gave him financial stability. More importantly, it gave him time to think. During his free hours, he continued studying physics, writing research papers, and developing his own theories. It was during this time that Einstein started thinking deeply about light, time, and space. He would spend hours imagining what it would be like to ride a beam of light. What would happen? How would time change? These questions fascinated him. He didn't know it yet, but he was on the verge of one of the greatest scientific discoveries in history. In the next chapter, we'll explore how Einstein's ideas led to his most famous breakthrough, the theory of relativity. Einstein's job at the patent office might not have been exciting, but it gave him something precious, time to think. During his free hours, he worked on complex physics problems, focusing on one big question: how does light move? This wasn't just a simple curiosity. It was a puzzle that had confused scientists for years. Einstein imagined a thought experiment. What if someone could travel alongside a beam of light? Would the light appear frozen? According to classical physics, yes, it should. But something felt wrong about that answer. Einstein knew that light always traveled at the same speed, no matter who was observing it. This simple but powerful idea led him to rethink the basic rules of time and space. In 1905, Einstein published a paper that would change physics forever. In it, he introduced the special theory of relativity. The key idea? Time and space are not fixed. They can change depending on how fast you are moving. This was a shocking idea at the time. For centuries, people believed that time was constant, the same for everyone. But Einstein proved that time could slow down or speed up depending on motion. To illustrate this, imagine two people, one standing on Earth and another flying in a spaceship near the speed of light. For the person on Earth, time passes normally. But for the person in the spaceship, time moves slower. This means that if the astronaut returned to Earth after many years of travel, they would have aged much less than their friends who stayed behind. This effect is known as time dilation. As if that wasn't enough, Einstein also gave the world one of the most famous equations in history: E=mc². This equation means that energy and mass are two sides of the same thing. In simple terms, a small amount of mass can be turned into a huge amount of energy. This discovery would later play a key role in nuclear energy and atomic bombs. At first, many scientists didn't take Einstein seriously. He was just a patent office worker, after all. But soon, his ideas were tested and proven correct. The scientific community started paying attention. Einstein's work shook the foundations of physics, and in just a few years, he went from an unknown office worker to one of the most respected scientists in the world. But his journey was far from over. In the next chapter, we'll see how Einstein's ideas gained recognition, how he won the Nobel Prize, and how he became one of the most famous people on the planet. By 1915, Einstein had expanded his ideas even further. He introduced the general theory of relativity, which explained how gravity works. Instead of seeing gravity as an invisible force pulling objects down, Einstein described it as a curve in space and time. Imagine placing a heavy ball on a soft mattress. It creates a dip, and smaller objects roll toward it. That's how gravity works in space. At first, many scientists were skeptical. But in 1919, a total solar eclipse gave the world proof. British astronomer Arthur Eddington tested Einstein's theory by observing how starlight bent around the sun's gravity. The results confirmed Einstein's predictions. Suddenly, Einstein was a superstar. Newspapers around the world called him a genius, and his face became instantly recognizable. In 1921, Einstein won the Nobel Prize in Physics, not for relativity, but for his work on the photoelectric effect, another major discovery that helped create modern technologies like solar panels. However, despite his fame, Einstein remained humble. He continued working on physics, traveling, and giving lectures. He met world leaders, scientists, and even celebrities. But fame also brought challenges. With his rising popularity, people looked to him for opinions on everything, not just science. Some admired him, while others criticized him. His Jewish heritage also made him a target of anti-Semitic attacks in Germany, especially as political tensions grew in the 1930s. As Einstein's scientific influence grew, so did the world's troubles. War was on the horizon, and soon, his work would play an unexpected role in history. In the next chapter, we'll explore how Einstein's life changed during World War II and how his discoveries shaped the future of science. As the 1930s progressed, the political situation in Germany became dangerous. The Nazi Party rose to power, and Einstein, being Jewish, knew he could no longer stay in his home country. In 1933, he left Germany and moved to the United States, accepting a position at the Institute for Advanced Study in Princeton, New Jersey. He would never return to Germany again. During World War II, Einstein played an indirect but significant role in history. In 1939, he signed a famous letter to U.S. President Franklin D. Roosevelt, warning that Nazi Germany might be developing a powerful new weapon, an atomic bomb. This letter led to the Manhattan Project, which eventually created the first nuclear weapons. However, Einstein himself did not work on the project and later regretted his involvement. He became an advocate for peace, speaking out against nuclear war. Even in his later years, Einstein remained active in science and philosophy. He continued searching for a unified field theory, an equation that could explain all the forces of nature. Although he never found it, his work inspired future generations of scientists. Einstein passed away on April 18, 1955, at the age of 76. His brain was studied by scientists, hoping to uncover the secret of his genius. But perhaps his greatest legacy wasn't just in physics, it was in his way of thinking. His curiosity, imagination, and refusal to accept limits changed the world forever. In the final chapter, we'll reflect on what we can learn from Einstein's journey and how his ideas continue to shape modern science. Albert Einstein's life was filled with curiosity, challenges, and groundbreaking discoveries. From a quiet child who struggled in school to one of the most influential scientists in history, his journey was anything but ordinary. His ideas reshaped our understanding of time, space, and energy, and his work continues to inspire scientists today. Beyond science, Einstein was known for his wisdom and sense of humor. He often said, "Imagination is more important than knowledge." He believed that asking questions and thinking creatively were the keys to discovery. His ability to see the world differently allowed him to unlock the secrets of the universe. Even after his death, Einstein's impact remains strong. His theories paved the way for modern physics, from GPS technology to black hole research. His famous equation, E=mc², changed the world of energy and science forever. And his thoughts on peace, education, and human rights continue to influence people around the globe. So, what can we learn from Albert Einstein? That curiosity is powerful. That failure is not the end. That thinking differently can lead to great discoveries. His life reminds us that the biggest ideas often start with the simplest question, what if? And that's the story of Albert Einstein, a man who changed the way we see the universe. His journey reminds us that curiosity and determination can lead to incredible discoveries. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. This way, you'll never miss a new story to improve your English. And now, why stop here? Watch the next video and keep learning in a fun and natural way. See you there.